Hey YouTube, I am making this video because I need somebody to talk to, and that's what I do, is make life or videos about, stuff that's real. So basically what's going on in my life right now is I've come to this sort of realization, amongst things that I'm doing, just that I get the impression that a lot of the things that I find myself involved in right now are not don't exactly have the capacity to for things to pan out in the way that I need them to, or whatever. And blueberries, bloobs, yeah, and it's certainly a startling realization. It's challenging to look at all of my efforts, and despite everything that I'm endeavoring to do, which for myself it certainly involves yoga, but it's like, what does it take for that to pan out? Because we're talking about something that's like a career that it takes time in order to essentially start making money with it, to be able to sustain yourself on that path. And I know that it's not my only thing, it's a part of a path, but still, where I'm at right now is not, I'm not too thrilled about it. Just like with my working environment and certainly my living environment, living in a car sucks. I just shake my head. It's just like, how did I wind up here again? And yeah, it's frustrating to say the least. And it's like, all this spiritual stuff. I believe it, right? But it's like, faith. Faith is what got me here, because I believe, yeah, and same with like integrity. It's like, I know that following my heart is the path, and really not getting involved in a career which I don't truly enjoy, which I essentially wouldn't do for free, that it doesn't make sense. I find it challenging to embrace any sort of a career, or undergo any kind of training, or get involved with any kind of an organization that I don't wholeheartedly believe in. Yeah, and so for myself, I like to, yeah, I feel inclined towards spiritual and philosophical and psychological kind of stuff, right? But it's certainly been challenging for me to take those things that I'm interested in and find a way to put my hands, my head, my heart, and my feet in the same direction, and have a career doing it and help people and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just, and the same thing with the van too, because it's like, without the funds to do the kind of stuff, and like with the seasons changing, it sucks living in a car in the summertime. It's too hot, it's too small. Come wintertime, it's just miserable. And even like fall, when the rain comes, it's just, yeah. And so it's been kind of I've been able to at least recognize that I needed to get very clear with myself and with what I'm doing, and really be honest, and I don't know, yeah, just really be sure, because it's like I find myself I pour myself into building this van. I've invested quite a bit of money, and it's the same thing with yoga. And when I look at either of them, it's like, okay, well, at what point do I figure this is going to pan out? Like to get me to a place where I'm comfortable, where I'm essentially yeah, I mean, it feels like it's all of the efforts that I put in have gone towards something and are panning out, and honestly, like, yeah, I just don't see it. And I think that's what's called being real. It's a reality check. Because I know for myself, it's very easy to get excited about stuff, to get to think that what I'm doing is going to work out. You know what I mean? Like, I had a house a few years ago that I sold when property levels were really high. I mean, they still are, right? But I figured I would be able to finish my book, and so I had some investments, and I ended up taking the money out because I needed it so that I could do my gallivanting around the world. And lo and behold, I was not able to finish my book in the time that it would take me to spend the couple $100,000 that I got from the house. And so I found myself having to work again, and so it's just that short-sightedness is like, if I didn't even buy a new vehicle, and so I'm driving the same vehicle that I was before I sold my house, and I don't know, I mean, to be honest, it's like, is that kind of foolish? It's hard to say, because it's like, I don't know how to not believe in myself. I don't know how to not have faith. I don't know how to not embrace life in the way that I do, to really put my heart and soul into something that I believe and figure that it's going to work out. But when I look at my situation, and certainly the way things have gone over the last couple of years, and it's just like, I'm in my 40s, and it's like, I have, you'd think you'd have it, I think I'd have it a little more figured out by now, right? But I'm struggling. Like, every day is a struggle. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. It was like this YouTube channel, how many videos have I made? For what? For what exactly? To be of service? Is this like kind of, it's this idea, it's this really nice sounding idea. Oh, I want to be of service. I want to, so I spend all my time sharing these ideas, making these videos. I used to put a lot more into the production of them when I did them on the computer, and I would, different effects and this and that, and making thumbnails. And I mean, it's cost money. I spent a lot of money on camera equipment, lighting, everything that it took, like all the different lights and stuff like that. I mean, and then even like software and things like that, using different programs to make the thumbnails and to like for editing and things like that. I mean, it's quite time consuming and money consuming. And at the end of the day, all I've done is pour my heart and soul and time and energy and money into something that has not paid off at all. And the same thing goes for this van that I've been working on. It's this nice idea. Oh, I have a van. Okay. But it's not done. I can't live in it. I mean, and it requires a lot more time and effort and money and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, So for what at the end of the day? It's the same thing with like writing a book. Has it been a transformational experience of writing a book? Yes, it has changed my life completely because it's just going through a process of writing a book about spiritual stuff. It had an enormous impact on my life, right? But I put like over 10 years into this and I have nothing to show for it. I mean, I could have become a lawyer in that period of time. You know what I mean? I mean, I could have followed some other path, but of course it wouldn't be what is truly feels correct for me. I don't think I would have been able to embrace it. I mean, I was talking with this kid that I'm working with right now, because I go to the gym a lot, and he was saying, he's like, oh yeah, he's going to go to this one in town. And I was like, oh yeah, because we talk a little bit about careers and stuff like that. He's young. I mean, he's like 15 and, stuff like that. And I was just like, so he's like, oh yeah, this one, it used to be owned by this guy. I was like, oh, what happened to that guy? I was like, do you know what happened to him? And he's like, oh yeah, he committed suicide. And so, we've talked a bit about that, just about how, you can go after money. You can chase money, you can chase a career. Sometimes they're one and the same, and maybe that works out. Maybe it gives you everything that you need. I mean, if you choose wisely. I mean, I'm sure there are jobs that could work out for myself. But yeah, I mean, it just part of the conversation was just that, like, money, it isn't everything. It certainly does help. I mean, I was watching this thing the other day, this Ted Carr guy talking about how, like as a man, it's like, I don't know, who knows what it's like for a woman, but as a man, there's something to do with, your livelihood. Like, it's like if you can't provide it, it's like if you can't provide, if you can't even take care of yourself, if you can't if you're not making ends meet, if you're not putting food on the table, even if you are and you're just scraping by, there's something that is, it feels essentially demasculating, meaning like your ability to do certain things is limited. It's like, oh, I can't do that, no, I don't have the money, oh, I can't do that, I have to work, I don't have the time, right? Because you don't have your ducks in a row. You're not in a place where you can like even go above and beyond and help other people out, and so it's a challenging thing, to be in a place where it's like where you can recognize that, for myself, it's like, despite any of my redeeming qualities, despite my philosophy on life, despite all of the efforts that I put into being of service, this whole being of service, and I feel like a sort of a thing towards my work too. It's like, I don't want to let somebody else down if I just went and got another job doing something else, even though I'm not happy. It's like not always, but I very often put other people first in my life. And it's just like, I just look at where it's got me. And I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answer of where it has gotten me, because, I know that I've been at times in my life where it seemed bleak, and then just around the corner was something that made sense. That was like, okay, it wasn't all for nothing. I can see how it's all kind of coming together piece by piece, and everything is relevant and was necessary to go through, and everything was just kind of like a step on the way, and it's all good. And that's where it's like, yeah, having faith, and it's like I trust in the way that my life unfolds. And I know I've experienced that before, right? But yeah, I just don't know where to be right now. Yeah, I guess I just feeling kind of sad. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is just the reality check. Because this isn't working. I think that's one of the things that has dawned on me. I found that like when I preoccupy myself with a lot of tasks, it's easy to essentially, it's like having the blinders on. It's easy to be like, okay, well, because I'm busy, what I'm doing must, I kind of like don't take a second to step back and like observe the bigger picture of things, at least as far as I'm aware of, right? I mean, it could be completely wrong about everything, and I probably am, right? But all I can do is use the faculties that I have, which is my awareness of my own life, and honestly like observe where I'm at and how it feels like things are going. But it's like, in the last couple of days, I took a moment to step back and I was like, okay, hold on. You're pouring all of your energy into these things that you think are going to what? Which for me is a van, but it's like, you can live a van life if you have some way to make money on the road, if you have things set up, if you have a good van. My van, it's not even close to being ready. So it's just like, I gotta stop funneling all of my energy, money, a form of energy, my time and energy, my attention into this thing that ultimately I don't think is going to get me to where I need to go. It just does not really have the capacity to do that. And it's the same thing with all of this yoga. Like, I have invested this year, I probably, that my going to New York and stuff like that and taking the courses, upwards of like $10,000, to become a yoga teacher. And I've spent years practicing this. I've put so much into it. And and what it takes to become a yoga teacher. It's not like you just do your yoga teacher training, and then you just get out there and you start teaching. There is like leading up to it. There's like prerequisites, at least for the people that I studied with. And then you go and you do the in-person, and then there's an internship phase. I mean, and it all takes a lot of time. It doesn't just like, I have to start teaching classes, and it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to do that, I essentially need to put down roots. I can't just, I couldn't just go traveling. And so I realized that some of the things that I'm doing are essentially in conflict with one another. I can't just, what is going on with the light? It's super annoying. I'll try to fix it. Yeah, I can't just start volunteering at the YMCA, which I'm going to, and head south in the winter in a van, which I don't have the finances to do. And it's tricky. You drive south from Canada, you got to drive all the way basically to Mexico to avoid the cold weather. And then what do you even do when you get down there? I mean, it's a lot of gas. I mean, not in my car, but the car is uncomfortable, and it's like, yeah, holy smokes. So huge wake up call. I mean, just, I could be just completely out to lunch on all this. I mean, I think that it's like when you have a bad day, I didn't have a bad day. I mean, I am slowly piecing this whole thing together, meaning piecing together what I don't think works, what doesn't make sense in my life. I'm piecing that together piece by piece, right? And yeah, I just don't know. There's a thought that comes to mind a lot that is like, it's back with this kind of spiritual stuff, right? But I get the impression that, because of other things that have happened in my life and just the way that when I reflect on everything that I've been through in life, that it's like I get this impression that regardless, I feel like I'm here to do something in particular. And basically, until I start doing that specifically, nothing that I do is going to ever pan out. Because that has been my experience in life. Everything that I've ever gotten involved with or been a part of has fallen apart. I've managed to push so many people away. I was married. Ended up getting divorced. I mean, I'm not saying that everything was my fault, right? But it has certainly been my experience in life that no matter what I do or whatever I get involved in, it all fizzles and falls apart. And then it's just like, okay, back to square one, back to the drawing board. And I actually do have a drawing board where I sit there and, take stock of what what I don't want to continue, where I would like to go, and what I need to do to get there. Which I feel is important to keep all of those things in mind in order to avoid procrastination or dawdling, for what it's worth. It's helps to have those kinds of things in mind. And so, yeah. But it's just frustrating. I don't know what to do. Something my dad said to me once, one of the few pieces of advice that I've ever taken from him is, when you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Just stop. And what I add on to that is, wait for a sign. Sometimes I don't know, it reminds me of like a cyclone or something like that, or a tornado. There's the calm in the middle of the storm, and there's all this stuff going on around me, and it feels like a storm, and I don't know what to do. But it's a quiet time, and it's like, okay, so don't rush into anything, because if you go running out, you might get caught up in something. So it might be best to just sit and wait for a sign, for something to become clear, to make sense. And it's like, okay, well, at least for now, move in some kind of a direction. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of bad about making a video like this, because it's just me venting, but it's tough, and if you don't really have people in your life, and even the people that I do, I don't want to drag anybody down with, the things that I'm going through. Everybody has their own stuff that they're dealing with, and the last thing that they need is me, talking about the challenges of my life, everything that I'm facing and going through, and how big of a struggle it is. Even though, like, I'm not saying like people aren't supportive and stuff like that, but it's like, yeah, I don't like to be not a nuisance, but I don't So I don't know. I wonder why I even bother making these videos. I know that there are a few people who appreciate them. I know that I make them because if I didn't, I would explode. Because for myself, there's things that I go through that I find some of it is challenging, like this video. I'm just talking about, facing the reality of some of the things that I've chosen to pour my energy into, and how it's like, holy cow, I think I need to redirect my focus and find another direction that makes sense, and just really, reality check and all that stuff. And then there's stuff that is more fun. Sometimes it's things that are aggravating, sometimes it's challenging, sometimes it's stuff that I just find really fascinating, or subjects that keep coming up in my life, repeating themes and whatnot. So I know why I make them, but it's just another one of those goofy things that I find myself involved in, and I just wonder why. And I think that, or no, I know I've heard it, that it is essentially healthy, because the thing is that if you aren't questioning things, that's when you need to be concerned. If you are overzealous, if you're too cocky, overconfident, if you just figure everything is just going to be perfect, if you're not really taking a moment to check in, to reflect, to be sure or ensure, that's something to be aware of, to beware of. And so it's a healthy process, taking time to I don't know, make sure that it's not all for nothing, right? Or not that it's not all for nothing, because nothing is for nothing, right? But yeah. Anyways, I think I'm done. Literally and figuratively. I'm done making this video, and I'm feeling just done as well. So double done.